So what in the world is going on in Tampa Bay? Why is the offense struggling so much? Well, let's talk about it. We're going to talk about the Pittsburgh game, and this play is a good example of, I think, what a lot of us were thinking right when the game ended was, why didn't we see them take more chances? This setup is a cover 3 zone that the Steelers are in. It's not like they were playing 2 safeties deep every coverage, and that's why the Tampa Bay Buccaneers didn't want to throw it deep. There were opportunities to potentially take a deep shot. On the sidelines, there will be a one-on-one matchup. Now, the corners are playing very far off, so it won't be a great one-on-one matchup, but still, you could look at Mike Evans on the top of the screen. He could potentially just go deep, get a one-on-one matchup. This is an opportunity to take a chance if you wanted to. But instead, exactly 2 seconds into this play right here, you see Brady is into throwing motion. So Brady's immediately getting rid of the football. And listen, this is part of Brady's philosophy. Get the ball out quick. That way there's not as many sacks, not as many pressures, all of that good stuff. That makes sense. As you see, Brady makes this throw, which ends up being incomplete due to a good defensive play. But, for something like that, it does make you wonder. Listen, in certain situations, I understand the logic here. I'm not saying that this is never a good strategy. Brady won a bunch of Super Bowls with this exact strategy. But when you're going up against a team with a depleted secondary, you have these, 2 great receivers. Why aren't you taking any chances? I think that that's a reasonable question to ask. But also part of it is stuff like this, where it's going to be a play action and it's going to be a very similar setup. This time it's Chris Godwin is running a good route against this type of concept. It's not a go route, but it's an out route. These things can work. It's a one-on-one matchup. So you're thinking, okay, well, here we go. This is what we want to see the Buccaneers do more of. Look at how when Brady takes the snap and looks in that direction, you see that Godwin is in a one-on-one matchup, but just not open at all. And that's something that happened a decent amount in this game that surprised me. You have to give the Steelers backups credit, really. Everyone says it's the Steelers backups. You should have torched them. Well, the names on the back of the jersey do not matter. All that matters is how you're playing. And if they're playing well, they're playing well. And maybe you could blame the Buccaneers receiving core for not getting open if you want to. But there were times when guys just weren't getting open as well. That's something that was happening. And, you can't blame Brady for that one too much. Brady decides to just throw the ball away, which is, understandable. I get why he made that call. I think that's probably the right call. But what you wanted to see happen was you wanted to see Godwin win that one-on-one matchup. And maybe Brady could have threw with anticipation there, but you would have probably rather seen Godwin, get more open on that play. Maybe you still could have thrown it there and given him a chance. I think that that's also a reasonable thing to do, but this is just that's not Brady's style, especially on a first down. I get why he didn't. Like one last example of this point before I move on to something else, something like this, where it's man coverage here, and so you have a route that, again, deep route on the sideline. You're at the 11-yard line, but this is a route that will get into the end zone. One-on-one matchup with Russell Gage there. You're thinking, okay, let's make something happen. Right when this play begins, you're going to see that, look at, nobody has separation right here. So again, I guess technically Leonard Fournette does underneath, but that's not going for many yards. So really no one has separation. This is the kind of situation where if you're Tom Brady, it's like, there's just not that much you can do. People are going to sit here and say Brady is washed. I think those people are just flat out wrong. I think that that's just not true at all. That's not what I see on tape. You see Brady, he's going to make a throw while getting hit. That was a catchable ball, it felt like, that Russell Gage wasn't able to quite get done. It was maybe a bit too far, but again, it's hard. You don't want to put it in a position where it could get intercepted. It's just a tough play there, but those are tough plays that they have to be hitting more frequently. You have this great receiving core. You have Tom Brady. You have to start hitting that stuff more. You just do. Going over to something like this. What's going to happen here is, let's talk about Luke Goedeke for a second, the rookie guard who was brought in to be competition with Aaron Stinney, but then Aaron Stinney got injured in the preseason, so Goedeke won the job that way. And quite frankly, he's just been a mess in pass protection through 6 games. He's just not been good. And I kind of liked him coming out of college. I didn't love him, but I thought that he had potential. I've been definitely disappointed with what we've gotten out of him so far. And listen, it's worth noting he's going up against Cameron Hayward, one of the best interior defensive linemen in football. I believe in my preseason power rankings, I had him at number 2, just behind Aaron Donald. So a guy who beats a lot of people. It's understandable. Right when this play begins, you see that, Hayward is pushing Gadecki back, but I also want to talk about another Tampa Bay player. I want to talk about the Tampa Bay center, because again, a lot of people are bringing up the offensive line as an issue for the Buccaneers, but I think that we need to be more specific than that, because, they have good tackles. Shaq Mason's been great as, again, one of the weirder trades that we saw last season of Bill Belichick getting rid of him. When Ryan Jensen went down, people were concerned, but Robert Hainsey has come in and played very well at the center position. However, you see him right now, he's kind of in a position where he's, looking to block whoever happens to get in his area, which is fine in a traditional situation. That's the correct thing to do, but this is not a traditional situation. If Cameron Hayward is lined up on Gadecki, you're double teaming Cameron Hayward. You just are. That should be the mindset. Shaq Mason can block someone one-on-one. This is something that, really I think Tampa Bay should probably look at bringing a new guard in, but teams don't really love to do that. If I was Jason Light, I'd be trading for a guard, especially when it seems very likely this will be Brady's last season in Tampa Bay. At least that's how it feels. Probably his last season in general, but who knows? However, as you see, Hayward wins this battle, is able to get over to help make that sack on Brady, which is, again, if you have a weakness, teams will exploit the weakness. You have to protect that weakness. So either fix the weakness by getting a new player in there, or, make sure you double team him. Listen, the Bengals had one of the worst guard position. They had one of the worst right guard positions in football last year and still got to the Super Bowl, but they did it by protecting him as much as they could. The Buccaneers have to do that until he grows into a better player. Right now, Gadecki is 73rd out of 75 eligible guards, according to Pro Football Focus, and his pass blocking grade is 24.8, which is just brutally low. I mean, that's worse than a lot of halfbacks' pass blocking grades are. Granted, the halfbacks will typically be put in a better position to succeed, but still, you get the point. And finally, one last thing I want to talk about actually I have two things to talk about, but the last play I want to talk about is going to be, we have to put someone to blame on Brady. We do. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and say Brady's washed. I'm not going to sit here and say it's all Brady's fault. But you better believe Brady missed some throws in this game, and that definitely hurt them. And I know a lot of people were bringing up the, how much off time he gets and the fact that he was at a wedding the day before, all that stuff. My argument has kind of been, let Brady do whatever he wants because, he's Tom Brady. I think that's totally, it's okay to give certain guys exceptions. I think that's, if you have a superstar quarterback, whatever they want to do, let him do it, especially a guy who has such a, history of success as Brady has. But this play, it's designed to get Godwin open. And look at how, when the play begins, you see Brady looks there. And it's actually weirdly ran by Tampa Bay, where kind of very clunky. You have two receivers right next to each other, but still, Godwin's going to be open. However, Brady is going to just miss this throw a little bit. Still a catch that Godwin would often make, but still, there were some missed throws here by Brady in this one. There absolutely were. That's something that you expect to get better. I'm not concerned about it, but it happened, and it was part of why things went wrong against Pittsburgh. Now let's go over to this chart, because this is the last kind of unacceptable thing that I think about with Tampa Bay. So this chart, it's going to be pass frequency over expected. So in specific situations, does a team pass the ball or run the ball more frequently than average? So you see at the very top, that's all plays. They were, they threw the ball 2% less than expected. So they ran the ball a little bit more than the average team would just in general in this game, which already is weird, right? Tampa Bay should always be passing the ball a lot more than expected just in general, given the way the team is built. But especially in a situation like this, when you're playing a team who, again, you got to give Pittsburgh a lot of credit. They really came out to play. But the game plan going in should have absolutely been, we're going to throw all over this team because of how many injuries they have in their secondary. So that should have been what happened. And you see, how often they're running the ball. A couple of noteworthy things here. I mean, really, the one time they threw the ball a lot was on 2nd down and 8+. Then they threw the ball every time, which, okay, there you go. Good job there. That makes sense. But the couple of ones that jump out to me is on 1st and 10, they ran the ball 12% more than expected, so they threw the ball 12% less than expected. And then on the shorts, on 2nd and short and 3rd and short, on 2nd and 1 and 2, they ran the ball 20% more than expected. And then on 2nd down and 1, or then on 3rd down and 1 and 2, they threw the ball 18% less than expected. So on these short yardage situations, they're running the ball constantly and they're not having success on those rushes. So They have to stop doing that. They have to, get a lot closer to average there, because I'd much rather have the ball going Mike Evans' way than the ball going Leonard Fournette's way in that situation. I just would. You look at the overall ratio of, if you take away the one Brady rush for 0 yards on the stat sheet, 25 carries versus 40 passes, that feels like a pretty healthy ratio, and something that you would, not the end of the world, right? Again, 2% more runs than expected, nothing dramatic, but it gets worse than that, I think, when you actually watch the game. Because there were also 10 targets to the running backs in this game. So 30 plays went to guys that weren't running backs in this one, and 35 plays went to the running backs. So this is definitely a very heavily run-happy team right now. This is a team built around their running backs offensively. It's schemed around their running backs, which just doesn't make any sense when their running backs, you can't even get over 3 yards per carry. And even like when they're catching the ball, they're not doing much. Fournette, 6.3 yards per catch. That's definitely on the low side. And Rachaad White was 3.7 yards per catch. So there's scheme issues. Brady needs to play better. The receivers need to play better, and they need to help. 4 out of 5 offensive linemen are actually doing good, but Gadecki has to play better. So until they figure that stuff out, this is a team that's still going to struggle. But at least the hope is those are, I don't know how many of these issues are fixable, but plenty of them are. And you have the get right of all get right games against the Panthers, who have really been struggling this season. If you lose that one, then you're in serious trouble. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.